Next race to show are the Blood Elves.
I'll have it up in
Now,
no time.
they have no use for their workers
Is
again.
my aid required?
Their melee unit, their only melee unit other than the hero, is super awful. You never ever want to get a 200 health, 12 to 13
You're
damage
interrupting my
unit.
calculations.
Even a worker is almost
Yes, my
just
friend.
as good as the swordsman in this case, and the swordsman dies to 3 hits from a cannon tower of goblins, let's say.
Is my aid
So that's the swordsman. It's pretty weak, and it costs a lot. Priest is the next unit you can get. It has usual skills, heal, dispel, which is important, and inner fire, which can be good, make your units with have higher armor, but the fact is that the Blood Elves have super weak units. Next up is Archer,
someone injured? Is my aid
which I
required?
see a bug. None of the Elven units are affected by any upgrades in terms of damage. See that number? That means armor can be upgraded, and there is no number at damage, so they can be upgraded, right? Let me check. Nope, seems like not. And the last unit... Oh, let me talk to the Archer once again. You can get some of the upgrades, just like the marksmanship and improved bows, but that's as far as it gets. The fact says that all of those 3 units are awful. The only a bit good unit is Dragonhawk Rider, which is awful damage for a flying unit, super small range. The only 2 good things are the aerial shackles, which basically make dwarves really useless, because you can like stun lock their Griffin Riders, and Cloud, which is really good considering how low health do Elven units have, and how high damage the cannon tower has. So you can like disable the defenses of your enemy, or like lock down his flyers, and then fight on the ground. That's the only fair thing that you can encounter as elves. The Dragonhawk Rider is, I'd say, the really powerful unit for the Blood Elves. And just as I said, the Blood Elves are all about the heroes. There you have Lena, the Iron Raven, so have like Lena, Warden, and you can get Silencer. How unsurprising, because it's made of Dota. And their heroes are super powerful. Now Lena has first skill, which is a Fan of Fire, and it releases too damn many fireballs. One fireball deals 250 damage, and just watch how many fireballs there are. If I counted right, that's about 2000 damage to every target around her. You can just like run into the group of enemies, yell something like I will fuck you up or Allahu Akbar, and just like explode their army into pieces. And Lena also has high armor for a hero and very high starting damage. The other skills she has are Ember Swarm, which is, let's say, like a Carrion Swarm, and Fire Lust and Incinerate. And the Iron Raven has something similar, except it only does 250 damage to enemies around the Warden. So the Warden is the only one that's balanced, I'd say. The other skills it has are Ajuna's Curse, which sends out a damage spike in a line. Blitz, which is something like a blink, with the exception that it has a lot less cooldown, and you knock back units where you teleport, if I'm right. And Betrayal, which is a skill that creates shadow of a unit or hero you choose, and the shadow keeps attacking the target until the shadow or the target die. And the High Elven Farm sells Arcane Scroll, which is a super good army item, because not only it restores health and mana, it also grants bonus armor to all units around you. So that's about it for the elves. They are just about the heroes and their flyers. Next up are the trolls, and even though, in my opinion, they're super weak, there is something that I very like, and it's really unique. It's about the interaction between the troll peons and the huts, which are the supply buildings. So, the supply buildings sell potions of invisibility, just like the changing item, and you can press the button, which allows up to 2 workers to get inside of the hut, and the HUD then emits a healing aura for nearby allied units. Aside from that, the HUD then is allowed to attack. And it is allowed to attack at quite a fast rate, so the trolls can become very annoying if you attack two of those HUDs which are nearby and have some units near them. And the healing is not so slow, it acts like a healing ward. Now to the units. First one is the Troll Headhunter. 0 armor, medium damage, kind of a lower health. Then it's a Shadow Priest, which has 0 armor, medium damage, super low health, and acts only like a healer. And then it's the Troll Bedrider, which is absolutely awful damage for a flying unit. 0 armor, and it's even light armor. The only good thing is that you can use those Bedriders to counter your opponent's flyers. You can, like, if your opponent has griffins, you can send out one Bedrider to deal 600 damage to a griffin, and then you can finish it off with a few of your units. But if you play against the Blood Elf, you can just like get your Bedriders caught by the, how are they called? The aerial shackles, and basically the Bedriders are useless. And the other skill, which is what you're looking for if you're attacking a base with slow attacking towers, the Liquid Fire. So the buildings that are hit by this cannot be repaired, take damage over time, and have attack speed reduced by 80%. If you attack a siege tower with this, it's going to attack like once per 15 seconds. And that will allow you to fight the enemy under his own defenses without taking too much damage. So the Bedrider is the, I'd say, they're really good against defenses, but not so good in other cases. And then come the heroes. The trolls seem to me pretty much like the Blood Elves, except they have, I'd say, weaker heroes. Alright, so let's see. Let me disable the cheat. I have that cheat on for the AI to don't annoy me. I know I can disable the AI, but what for? So the first skill is Shadow Dancer Strike. Let's see how I can hit it. Apparently I did not. What the skill does is, you send out a wave which hits all enemies it passes through, and those enemies it hits, it not only it damages them, but it also spawns a copy of that unit which keeps attacking the unit that was hit by the wave. Well, it's time of the day, it's becoming day alright then. Next skill is Purple Haze, which decreases movement speed and adds a miss chance. It's like a hypnotic potion. The other skill is Healing Ward, and the ultimate is Big Bad Voodoo Hex. Not only Big Bad Voodoo, it's Big Bad Voodoo Hex. And I'd say this is the really powerful one, because if your enemy doesn't have dispels and stays around your level 6 Witch Doctor, yes, this is the Witch Doctor, you can hex their whole army for 20 seconds. And I think it's only instant cast, that it's not channeled, so you can basically, oh hello enemy, want to fight with me? Yeah, come here. Let me turn all of your units, including heroes and including flying units, let me just turn all of them into frogs, just like, what is this shit called? Albatrosses, vultures, and all of your ground units into snails, frogs, worms, what else do I know? And then you can wreck your enemy. The Witch Doctor is a really powerful army hero, right? The skill that the other hero has is a Boomerang Blade. Throws a blade in a line, which deals insane damage per second to any enemies it hits, and then returns, and it like deals damage on the way back. It also destroys trees, but not for long enough. Have a look, the trees regrow back. Alright, it doesn't destroy trees, never mind. Let's try. Oh, it also interferes with S, stop. So like if you want to stop with the Witch Doctor, it's not possible. Because the shortcut for the Shadow Dancer is S. So let's see. And there you have it. And then the shadow disappears. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Wait, did I turn the cheat on or off? I had it turned off, and those illusions instantly killed 250 health bandits. What the fuck is that? I'm sorry, I have to investigate. Let's see if it kills them as well. Oh no, it doesn't. So apparently the damage of the Shadow Dancer strike is higher than 30 damage. Oh, never mind then. My mistake. Let's test out the skill of the Shadow Hunter, the Boomerang Blades. Yeah, it doesn't deal that much damage. Still, I think that the Hex is the most powerful one. The other skills that Shadow Hunter has are the Healing Fork, Serpent Ward, Mass Serpent Ward, Regeneration Aura, and Hex. And that's about it. So I think that the Trolls are the weakest race so far. They combine... I don't know how to say. They combine powerful and very weak spells. They also combine very weak units with very weak heroes that are only good with their spells. And even look at their towers. Those towers are complete joke. 9 to 11 damage. You don't even need to disable the tower because it'll deal almost no damage. You can heal that app back just without... You don't even need to focus those towers. The only real tower is the troll hut. So like... You don't want to build towers as a troll unless they get somehow buffed. My conclusion on trolls is that they are quite bad at the moment. The only good thing about them are the Bat Riders and the Shadow Dancer strike, which is unique and I like it. And also the huts, but other than that I think trolls are very weak. Next up are the Night Elves. They look more like corrupted Night Elves, right? Well, they can only have one hero at a time. I chose the Keeper of the Grove. The other heroes were Illidan and a Stone Giant, and the Stone Giant was basically a Mountain Giant, or however it is called, with its passive things remade into skills. So it was a good tank hero, 800 basic health, but other than that, I don't think it was too... I don't know. I don't think it was that good. So, after the first unit. The first unit is Sentry. It has low armor, medium damage, medium health, and starts with evasion. Next unit you can get is Flyer. It's a Fairy Dragon. It's a shitty flying unit, but its main purpose is to mana flare, which increases its armor by 12, and the Fairy Dragon is considerably good not only against casters, but also against healers. Because like healers spend 5 mana for every heal they do, like the priests, and the mana flare burns their health and mana down whenever they heal something. And they are spell immune. And the signature unit, I think, is Druid of the Claw, because not only the Druid of the Claw has Roar and Rejuvenation, but it also has the Bear form, and the Bear form is the real powerful thing in here. Unfortunately...
Research finished.
Fortunately, never mind. Fortunately, it can be done. And then Rejuvenation is disabled. But the Druid of the Claw becomes a very good frontline unit that can also roar, then switch back and heal self, and has medium armor and medium damage. Druid of the Claw is a really good unit in my opinion, for the Night Elves. Also, the hero can become invisible at night. And the last thing is Glaive Thrower. The Glaive Thrower is, I'd say, a shittier version of Mortar Team, because it deals only 40 to 50 and has 2 armor, and has low health. And it has the upgrade of Warple Blades, which is like, it allows the Glaive Thrower to damage multiple units in a line. But other than that, I don't think it's that good. Again, the supply building, which is in this case Corrupted Moonwell, it does not sell any healing, which is something that I approve of, and this was given a thought or two, because the Moonwells can already heal on their own. Like, you don't need to pay for any healing, but if you need a lot of healing in a short time, then you are screwed. If you need only some healing here and there, you don't need to spend any resources, because the Corrupted Moonwell has the Replenish. Not only that, it can also research the Wellspring, which increases the mana regeneration rate and capacity massively during night. Other than that, you can unsurprisingly unroot your ancients, and then they become quite, well, I don't want to say quite good, but they become considerably good frontline units. The Ancient of War has its health lowered, and then you can just move it next to your opponent's base, set it down, train units. When you don't need it there anymore, then you just uproot it and continue on. The same you can do for the Ancient Protector, which is the tower variant, and it can also heal itself by eating trees. And its damage is somewhat medium. It's not as low as the Troll Tower's damage, but it's not as high as the Cannon Tower. But like, if it gets damaged, it can heal itself back up to full health. And the only dispel that the Night Elves have is Detonate, and you basically need to sacrifice a Wisp to do that. My conclusion on the Night Elves is that they are, I'd say, maybe the best balanced class that I have seen / played against the AI so far. But let's wait with the judgment until I show off the other races as well. The only thing that I want to show off for the Illidan is his skill set. He has Electric Conduit, which I'll get to later, Body Double, which basically grants your hero Windwalk without the bonus damage and creates an illusion that goes wherever you set your hero to go before you press the button. Attribute bonus, Betrayal, which has been once already, and Metamorphosis with high cooldown. Now, the Electric Conduit is the really interesting one. It pushes enemy units back and casts Chain Lightning on them. And this skill is super powerful because the Chain Lightning, yes, just as the name says, it chains, basically bounces between your opponent's units. So Illidan is quite a good anti-army hero. He doesn't have too many good spells, but actually he does. He doesn't have powerful AoE spells, but the Electric Conduit is a really good one because it deals damage when you press it and then continuously over the course of time, and enemies' melee units can't get to your hero. And if the enemy tries to aim it down, you can just body double and get away with it. Next up are the Undead. So the first unit you can get is the Necromancer, and the Necromancer is somewhat actually a really good frontline unit. Well, not a frontline unit, but it's a really good fighting unit. It has 90 to 20 damage. It has 600 range, which is not that bad, considering that the Dragonhawk has only 300. You can summon skeletons, and the skeletons are a really powerful thing here, because you get only 2 warriors, right? Well, you get 2 warriors, but you can upgrade that, so you can get the, well, you actually can. Never mind. Or you can summon 2 skeletons, yay, and they are not that bad. If you get a group of necromancers, you can basically swarm your opponent if he's playing a race without a dispel, and there are some races. You've seen already some that cannot dispel anything. Then you have Obsidian Statue, which is like in classical Warcraft. It can restore mana or health, but other than that, it is shitty unit. It is high health, but it doesn't do too much damage, like 7 to 8. That's even less than Acolyte. Next up is the Meat Wagon, which I cannot see its stats over the amount of corpses. It has very high siege damage, considerably good health for a siege unit, not as good as a siege tank, but better than a mortar team, heavy armor, and it can gather corpses which
The dead shall
do
serve.
work really well in
In true
cooperation or in conjunction with the Necromancer. And the Necromancer has really low cooldown on raised dead, so you can swarm your opponent. Yay! Next up, and that is only the upgrade from Obsidian Statue. You get the Destroyer, which is your Oni Dispel, which is like the Devour magic. Then it's the Orb of Annihilation and Absorb Mana. And that's about it. It's a pretty good unit considering its health, damage, and the Orb of Annihilation, along with Devour magic, which is a Dispel. And then you have the Sky Barge, which is the reason why you keep seeing this light emanating from the catapult. It works just like with the goblins. You pick up something and a healing beacon spawns. Right? Another one. And they will disappear after a short while. The Sky Barge can defend itself, but only against units that are organic and that are not immune to magic. It can also attack ground units, but only non-mechanical ones. Right, so keep that in mind. And then come the heroes. First one is the Lich Kel'Thuzad. Oh, also I almost forgot. The Towers of Undead are a complete joke. Yes, they have corruption attack, but no, it can only attack one unit at a time. Yes, it has higher attack speed, but that's about it. Anything can like get rid of this corruption tower, especially something immune to magic. Alright, so let me disable the cheat, so I can show off this skill. So Ice Impale. That's what it does. So, it stuns enemy units that stay in the line behind the Ice Impale. And it also deals damage. It's not bad, it's quite a good skill. And then it's the Punch, which is, well, a meat hooker. Yeah, get over here. Aside from that, his skills are Exhume, which is an ultimate and deals damage per every corpse that is launched in the area where you select. Then the next skill is Cannibalize, next up is Cloud, and then it's the Meat Hook. I forgot to say the other skills. Kel'Thuzad has Attribute Bonus, Frost Nova, Frostbite, Ice Impale, and Death and Decay. Kel'Thuzad is quite a good caster hero. Once again, the Ziggurat sells the changing item of Sacrificial Skull, because you can't build. It says that you can't build somewhere where the ground isn't lighted. And the last hero you can get, and as Undead you can have 3 heroes at a time, so let me go ahead and sacrifice some of my units. Yes, it will take quite a while, don't you worry. I need only, how much? I need only 5 more supply. I mean 3 more supplies, so... And yes, I almost forgot. The last unit you can get is cool, and you can get it from Necropolis. Because Acolytes cannot gather wood, right? There. Last you can get is the Ranger, the Dark Ranger, Sylvanas. Her skill set is Attribute Bonus, Shot in the Dark, Lament, Charm, and Repel. Basically, Repel works just like Electric Conduit. It deals damage to enemies and pushes them back. Shot in the Dark is basically a big arrow that you shoot on a unit, and then it deals damage over time. A Lament is something like a, let's say, Karen Swarm, and Charm is, well, Charm. Let me show you what I mean when I say Charm. Take control of a target enemy unit, and the level on which units you can use it increases. Oh hey, wanna fight for me? No? Well, now you do. See, you can get some pretty cheap units over the food limit, so you can use that to your advantage. My opinion on Undead is the combination of Necromancers and the Meat Wagons can be really good, and even the fact that you can steal units from your opponent over the maximum of your food limit and then come down on him crushing with like 60 supply units. Like, I think that the Undead, if you combine things well enough and wait a while, you can crush your opponent with summons or stolen units. Next up are the Fellow Orcs. They have no use for their peons other than garrisoning them in the orc burrows, and damage of the orc burrows is just a joke. The orc burrows sell scroll speed, and that's it. So the first unit you can get is the Felor Grunt. It does medium damage, high health, low armor, and you can pillage. Well, it has the pillage research available, but you cannot. You can research it, and then the Felor Grunt can pillage the buildings of your opponent. But the issue I encountered so far is that you won't have too few resources because you are limited both are limited by the supply limit. Next up is the Felork Warlock. It has the Firebolt, which only stuns an enemy. It doesn't deal damage, it only stuns, which is only good against channeled spells. Next up is the Unholy Frenzy, which is the real good spell here, which increases attack speed by 75%. And the last is Cripple, which is super good, especially in a place where you're limited by supply. So like, does the enemy, let's say, have a, what do I know? Let's say a Griffin Rider. Is he wrecking your army with it? Like only one. Let's say he has only one. You can always cripple the Griffin Rider, making him almost useless, and decrease his damage, his attack speed, his movement, just like make it a shit unit. Outright. Cripple and Unholy Frenzy are really good in here. And the next up is the Wyvern, which is the flying unit. It has melee range, attacks fast, has no light armor, just like 0 light armor. But in conjunction with Unholy Frenzy and Cripple onto the enemy, I think that the Wyvern is considerably good flying unit. Like if you combine Wyvern and Felork Warlocks, you can get rid of the Blood Elf combination of the aerial shackles. Like if your opponent tries to shackle your Wyvern, you can firebolt their, how is it called? Dragonhawk Rider, then Unholy Frenzy your Wyvern and cripple their Dragonhawk Rider, and the Wyvern is guaranteed to kill the Dragonhawk Rider, or let's say even a Dwarf Griffin. So that's about the combination between those two. And the last, which is the best siege unit so far in this map, is Demolisher. It comes with 80 to 100 siege damage, and it's really good number. Even higher health than the previous siege damage unit. What was that? I can't even remember, I'm sorry. The last siege... Basically the Demolisher is the best siege unit in the game. It's better than the Meat Wagon, yes, I finally remembered. It has some heavy armor, which can be improved by upgrades, and it comes with the Burning Oil. And then come the heroes. So the first up is Grom Hellscream. His abilities are Air Impact. That's the one that the Beastmaster can use. Attribute bonus, Critical Strike, Late Storm, which is his ultimate, and Grom's Rage. The only one that I'm curious to see is the Grom's Rage, where he basically becomes red, his damage changes to chaos, and he gets plus how much? 75% attack speed. And he becomes really hard to deal with. Just like chaos damage can be so powerful at sometimes if combined with critical strike. Get it? Alright, and the next up is the Mafog, and Grom Hellscream Enraged causes me to have FPS drops. Please stop it. Alright, back he goes, finally. So, let's see the other skill of this hero, which is called Rushing Slash. It's a skill of the Mafog. Slice the target, or slash the target 25 times while rushing forward very fast. This is kind of a troll spell because you can push your opponent indefinitely. Oh, sorry, I fucked it up, right? Oh, I need to disable the cheat in order to be able to show this spell. Alright, so let me lure out one enemy. Come on. And here you'll see how it works. Your opponent cannot do anything, so he's stun locked, and you deal a total of, let's say, 150 damage to it. 150 damage to it. It's not a bad spell, it's a good spell against heroes, but against some units it can be really bad. The watchtowers have choke damage. 16 to 18 is higher than the Blood Elf tower damage, but it's still a little.
What is your will?
Well, to summarize what I think about Fellow Orcs is they are not really about the they are not really about the heroes. They are about the units rather than the heroes. But just so I don't miss the thing that I wanted to point out, Mafok has skill set of Rushing Slash, Endurance Aura, and Snare, and his ultimate is Howl. Howl is an army spell. It heals your units for 20 health per second, damages your opponent's units by 10 hit points per second, and if you cast it at night, a group of wolves is spawned and they will do damage to the opponent's army. So I think that the Fel Orcs are just about army fights, not about hero fights, like for example, let's say the Blood Elves. And that's about it for the Fel Orcs, and only one race remains, and that would be the humans. While I was checking the skill of the other hero before showing it, the Razor Rush, which has no cooldown and allows your hero to rush forward while dealing damage to units, a wild bug appeared, which basically causes a copy of your hero to spawn. The copy is invulnerable and it does nothing and it cannot be passed through. So I guess with this skill and enough mana you could create an infinite wall around your base and force the enemy to give up. Just like, I don't know how this happened, but apparently it did. And the skill set of the Blade Master is Windrunner, which is like a wind walk, Bonebreaker Strike, the Razor Rush, which you just saw, and Blade Storm. Now the last race that I want to show off are the humans. The humans have no way to use their workers further other than transferring them into militia. But the militia is your standard worker free militia and it's not anyhow good. It's like only if you know that the worker is going to die. I mean, in some cases, right? So, the first unit you can get is a Footman. Now compared to... Alright, never mind. I'll get to that later. Now the first unit you can get... Alright, never mind. I'm starting to get annoyed by those sounds. Deal with it. Alright, so first unit you can get is the Footman. Now the Footman is a 12 to 13, which is really weak. Even Militia has the same damage. And 2 armor, which is really weak as well because Militia starts with 4 armor. Now, the only thing that is good about Footman is that the Footman has Defend. That's enough, get back. That the Footman has Defend, which makes the Footman somewhat good against ranged units. But some races don't even have ranged units, so that might be a bit of a letdown. I think the Footman is probably the weakest unit that you can get as humans in this map. Now the next up is Chaplain, and Chaplain is considerably better than Footman, just because he's a spellcaster, he has Heal, Dispel Magic, which is really important, and Inner Fire, which works like Frost Armor, except it also adds damage bonus to your units. Your unit. Yeah, it's like it's a single spellcast. And the next unit you can get is Knight. The Knight has very high health for a barracks unit, and has 27 to 35, which is somewhat considerably good, and starts on 5 armor, which compared to Footman is really good, right? Now, the last unit you can get is the Flying Machine, and Flying Machine is the real piece of garbage. Don't get me wrong, in Warcraft you can use it as scout, etc, etc. But in here, I don't know how much you're going to scout if this map is supposed to be a quick fight. Come the fuck on, elves. So, the Flying Machine has super low health. It can't even beat 1 versus 1 the Wind Witch, the Harpy Wind Witch that the ogres have. And if you want to assault your enemy's base with a group of those flying machines, only thing he needs to do is probably hero, because those bombs from the flying machines are going to deal no damage to the hero. So like, I don't know, it sounds like a lot of hate, but hey, would you train for 90 gold and 30 wood a unit that is 175 health and same damage as a peasant? Well, or 2 damage higher than a peasant? I wouldn't. The only thing that makes it good is the fact that it has True Sight. Stop the rampage. The only thing that makes it good is the fact that it is True Sight and the Black Cannon, which, if you get a group of those flying machines, they are considerably good against another group of flying units. But only a group. If you use a group of flying machines against one unit, the Black Cannon is useless. This is the Black Cannon, yep. Now after the heroes. You saw I was using one, but I'll get to that later. So the first hero you can get is Jaina. Almost all heroes you can get from your main building have attribute bonus. So, the skills of Jaina are Water Elemental, Brilliance Aura, Mass Teleport, which I think is one of the better skills you can have on human heroes. Because if you find yourself without a Scroll of Down portal, you get to attack your enemy's base, and all of a sudden, enemy appears by your base and starts attacking it. You can just teleport all of your units back. And because it teleports 24 units, it will always be all of your units. It will never happen that it will only teleport like half of them. If you know what I mean.
I'm trying to think here.
And the last skill, which is the custom one, is Hydrojet. Now the Hydrojet is the,
I'll check it
in
out.
my opinion, the really interesting one, because it
Sounds
stun locks the opponent that gets
Sounds
hit.
interesting.
See those bandits?
Sounds good.
Have some water, gentlemen.
I'll check
It basically sends out a stream of water that keeps hitting
I hate
the
resorting
units
to
that come into contact with it, and it basically stun locks them. It deals only minor damage, so I think that the main fact or the main usage of this
Sounds
is
interesting.
in army fights.
Sounds good.
Now
Waiting on
off to
you.
Sylvanas Windrunner. She comes with a passive that's called Hide, and basically she can hide at night. And her skills are Windrunner, Ensnare, Shooting Spree, and Theft. Ensnare is just what you'd expect, only that it's levelable and you can increase the range of its usage, etc, etc. Now the Shooting Spree is the let's say the killing machine, because it increases it increases the attack speed of your hero up to 8 times. So like instead of 1 attack, you can attack 8 times at level, I don't know, 7. And if you get a few orbs on the hero, then it's like 50 damage, because 22 plus orb damage multiplied by 8, and you can do that every second for 16 seconds. Not bad. And then the Theft. Theft is the skill that I would probably make the ultimate one, either Theft or the Shooting Spree, because you select a hero of your enemy, you click this button, you press it on that hero, and you steal one random item from their inventory. Now if your opponent spent all of his gold, all of his excessive gold to buy a Orb of, I don't know, Orb of Frost, you can basically steal it for 75 mana. And if you are low on money, you can then sell that orb back into the market. And your opponent basically lost 700 gold and sent you half of it. And other than that, now off to the special one. This is not a hero that the humans can get. The third hero humans can get is a paladin, but he's pretty standard. Here's what you'd expect. He has Resurrect, he has Holy Light, Divine Shield, Judgment, which is a skill that quite repeats often, and attribute bonus. So this is one of the heroes that you can get in the Tavern. Yes, I have finally figured how to get the heroes from the Tavern. So this is one of the heroes you can get from the Tavern, and he is called the Unbroken Dark Hunter. Yes, attribute bonus, Web, Unholy Frenzy, Impale, and Tentacle Spawn. Now, the really powerful one is Unholy Frenzy. And I'll show you why just in a second. So, you have your regular unit with its attacks. Yeah. Now, look at this attack speed. And imagine you can have it on all of your ranged units. Because the hero has really low cooldown on the skill. Get it? See what I mean? There is some synergy because you can, if Sylvanas gets the shooting spree, then you can empower her even more by Unholy Frenzy. And that can be insane.
Yes, my lord.
And you can get many more heroes from the Tavern. You can, for example, get Doomguard, you can get Medivh, you can get Akama, which is the broken Draenei leader. You can get a Pit Lord, Fire Lord. What do I know? That's for you to discover. I only wanted to show that there is one... Like, I wanted to show one hero. Oh, now to the buildings. Your basic farm has a research to improve lumber harvesting, sells shimmer glaze, town portal, and regeneration. Then you have your barracks, which train the 4 unit types that were shown. And then you have your useless towers. Yep. It is a scout tower with model of guard tower. It's a scout tower because you have light damage. It's not even, how is it called? Fortified? Yeah, it's not even fortified. And it doesn't have an attack. And all you can do is do researchers. So like, hey, stay away from my base or I will kill you with my researchers. Ha! Well, this is not a guard tower. It's a mix between a blacksmith and arcane sanctum. I think that it should require a fix. But that belongs to the bug section. I think that the humans are kind of a meh race. I think they are somewhat similar to trolls right now. Because trolls at least have an 8 to 11 damage guard tower. Humans don't even have a guard tower, so... I think that the humans could use some balancing, some bug fixes, and some improvements. And that's about it. Now to the bug section. Bugs that I encountered are... a lot of the tooltips on some skills are either incomplete or are missing. So like the Unholy Frenzy has only a level 1, and if you level it up, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't improve the Unholy Frenzy. And even the tooltip says it's 0%, 0, just like it could use a fix. Also, some races, and one of those races are the humans, have either they can either get 1 hero, or they can get 3 heroes, or they have heroes that cost no food. You'll see what I mean. This is 6 supply. This is 8, 9,
Is my aid
11,
required?
15, 20. And those 2 do not cost any supply. And that can be a huge advantage in this map. Also, the skill called Judgment, or Tidal Judgment, or what do I know? Just the Judgment. The skill that throws a unit up and then smacks it down. It is supposed to deal 100 damage, but it deals only 50 when the unit lands. It doesn't deal any damage when the unit is thrown into the air. So keep that in mind as well. And other than that, that should be absolutely everything. So thank you for joining me in a particular review. It's not an absolute review, it's just show off of every race and what the races have to offer, of a map called Ultimate Micro Melee by High Workshop member and creator Legal_Ease.